Today, we're going to talk about manifest and permits reconciliation procedures. First, we go through is the intro, that is on what is a manifest and what is a permit. Then, we go through is the legislation, the law that governs the manifest and permits reconciliation. Thirdly, is the documentation procedures. Now, what is a manifest and what is the purpose in which we need to reconcile the manifest and the permits together? A manifest is a listing of goods or merchandise in which is carried on board a vessel or an aircraft. Now, you compare this to a passenger manifest. When you are traveling, you will have to go and check in with the airline first. And then the airline agent there at the counter will register you, have all the details input in. From there, they will build up a passenger manifest. It same goes for a cargo manifest where they carry goods on board a vessel. All shippers will book a cargo space with the shipping agent, and then after that, they'll give them a draft bill of lading or a shipping instruction so that they are able to build up a cargo manifest. This is a sample of a cargo manifest in which it is done up by a shipping agent. However, this is just a generic one. Firstly, here, we have here, right, is the shipping agent's name, followed by the vessel's name, the voyage number, the sailing date, the flag itself. Now, the flag is very important is that under our registration of imports and exports regulation, they must have the flag or the registry in which country they are registered in. This is very important with the paging because on board a vessel, we have a lot of cargo on board. So a cargo manifest can run into a few hundred pages. Then we have is the place of receipt, the original place where it was being loaded on board. For Singapore, it will be the same. But in some countries like China, you have is an inland port and an ocean-going port. So this for them will be the inland port itself. The next is the port of discharge with the captain, or you can call this the master of the vessel. We have also is next line is the delivery, place where it's being delivered, followed by the final destination itself. Then we have the next column in which we'll touch on is the ocean bill of lading, in which is a mast. This will be identifying the cargo itself. Followed by the next column, that is the goods in which is shipped by a shipper, the actual shipper itself from Singapore. And we have is the consignee's name with the notifying party. Next column, that is the third column, we have is the marks and numbers together with your container number, plus as well your seal number. Now, we have the marks and numbers is to identify the goods itself. Next is the fourth column is the description of goods together with the kind and the number of packages. Like for instance, it is 1 × 40-footer container said to contain 500 cartons of TV sets. In addition to this description, they also have is the remark being made stating that this is a shipper's shipper's load and count. In other words, the responsibility is on the shipper. Should anything happen, and if they are answerable, will be the shipper itself. This SOC stands for shipper's own container. The container is belonging to the shipper itself. And lastly here is to confirm that goods was on board a vessel on the particular day of sailing. Fifth column here will tell you is the measurement. That will be the weight of the shipment, including your container weight. Then we have is in cubic meters here, no doubt. But for certain cargo, we have in cubic meters because they're not containerized. So they occupy a certain number of space. So freight is collected on the space that they occupy on board a vessel. Last one will be the freight charges. Like in this instance, the freight charges is being paid at the place of destination. That will be the importer overseas will have to pay this freight itself. Lastly is the total, all right, of everything on board the manifest. Next, what is a permit? This is an approved declaration to allow an importer, exporter, all right, or a handling agent to import, export, or to transship goods at Singapore. We are using currently is the TradeNet system to process declaration. This is a sample of a cargo clearance permit, CCP in short. This is an acronym, okay, in which we use via TradeNet. It will be the permit number together with all other consignment details like the validity date of the permit, in which this is important. When we are checking, we will make sure that the permit is valid. If it's not valid, we will find the company itself. Then will be the vessel's name with the voyage number, the bill of lading number. On this side here, is the carrier itself, the name, plus the port of discharge, loading, and the destination. Purpose of reconciliation is that we have to ensure that all permits are declared and reconciled against all consignments that are listed in a manifest itself. This is at the same time is to achieve completeness of trade stats. Now, trade stats itself in Singapore, we are collecting it so that the government, for example, like Singapore Customs, we can use it, all right, to do our risk management. That is one, all right, and at the same time also collection of revenue for import. Okay, we can see from there is that if the goods, all right, if let's say there's a sudden drop, we can tell whether or not the declaration has been declared or not. Okay, that could be one way. Or it could be the lifestyle has changed. And this is also good for the business community as well, where they will do research and they will check that whether or not this will be applicable for them, whether to import or export or manufacture such products, whether the goods are a sunset or a sunrise industry. Legislation. The legislation is the Regulations of Imports and Exports Act, which is what I call as a mother, all right? And the child is Regulation of Imports and Exports Regulation. From the Act, under our Section 2, all right, we is the power to come up with the regulation. Now, regulation is easier to change or to update. It's not like the Act. It takes a few years. You have to go to Parliament sitting before it can be approved. Whereas regulation at the minister's level, let's say for example like mine, all right, I'm under Ministry of Finance. We just approach and refer to the Ministry of Finance, that's all right, and he will approve the regulation. This is example of two acts here, of two regulations, Regulations of number 11, 2 and 3, plus as well is 12, 2 and 3. The first one here, oh dear. This covers is for the export of goods from Singapore, in which the manifests and the permits need to be submitted to Singapore Customs. Second one here, that is Regulation 12, 2 and 3. This is for imports, for all arrival, okay? Documentation procedures. We have sea freight as well as air freight. How do we facilitate the trading community in order to submit the manifest and the permits after reconciliation? We have come up with a scheme. Now, this scheme came about in 1995, in which this will facilitate the shipping agents and the airline agents in their submission of the manifest and the permits. instead of submitting this manifest and the permits, they just submit one copy that will be a statement, that's all, in a format in which we will prescribe to them and ask them to give it to us. There are some terms and conditions in this scheme itself. First is that the company need to be registered with Singapore Customs, and then we will tell them what sort of documents, in which structured format to submit the documents to us, how they're going to do a submission to us, and within what time frame are they going to do the submission to us. They also have to keep the manifest and the permits after they've done the reconciliation. And lastly is that we do some verification checks by going to the company or requesting for the manifest and the permits to be sent to us within our office, in which we will do the checks itself. All right, under this scheme, this is how we do the registration. We will request the company to go and e-file by logging on to our Singapore Customs website, in which we have a module in which they can go and do the registration. After they have done the registration, they would be able to submit the manifest reconciliation statement. Okay. This is the website. Okay. If I were to click I agree, okay, this will be the one of the page in which they need to fill up, right? C consignments. We have a time frame. Now, when do they need to submit? Right? We have a certain time frame. For all shippers and consignees, they will do the submission is, for arrival, it will be within 10 days of the vessel or an aircraft. But in this instance, we're now talking about the sea freight. Later, we'll go on is the air freight. For departure, it will be within 7 days of departure of the vessel. Now, all these documents, that is the permits, in other words, plus as well other relevant documents. Let's say, for example, if they are transshipment or true bills of lading, then it will be in lieu of permits itself. All these are given to the shipping agents. Shipping agents will do the reconciliation and submit to Singapore Customs. For import, it will be within 17 days. And for export, it will be 14 days from the date of departure of the vessel. These are the documents in which we prescribe and request the shipping agent to submit to us. First is the statement here. Right, the MRS in stock. Normally we call it as Mrs., which is easier to remember. Now, in this statement itself, it will contain all the particulars of the vessel, when is its sailing date, and then whether the goods on board, all right, the vessel, whether they are covered with permits or not, right, etc. But if, let's say, for certain times, you might have what we call as goods are not delivered at all within 17 days of arrival of the vessel due to certain unforeseen circumstances. So the shipping agents will give us an undelivered cargo list that they have not delivered the delivery order to a consignee itself. Subsequently, after delivery, they will inform us under what we call as second submission. We also have what we call as outstanding list, in which a shipping agent, if they try to match, but the permit is not able to match, so they will inform us that a particular consignment is unreconciled. Okay. For outgoing, it's the same thing, except that we don't have undelivered cargo list. It's only meant for import. This is the website in which all registered shipping agents will submit their manifest. The manifest reconciliation statement. Okay. In summary, I'll just give you a flowchart of the sea imports. First will be the shipping agent. When they know that the vessel is going to arrive in Singapore, what they'll do is they will inform MPA, that's Maritime Port Authority of Singapore, and tell them that a particular vessel is going to come to Singapore. Normally it will be within 24 hours prior to arrival. Then the shipping agent will inform the consignee via fax, via email, that a consignment of theirs has going to arrive in Singapore. And the consignee will declare an import permit and exchange for a delivery order with the shipping agent in order to collect their goods. With all the permits already collected from all the consignees, the shipping agent will do a reconciliation. That will be a manual one. And then after that, they will go and submit MRS to Singapore Customs. All right, we now will go through, is the sea exports. We first begin with is the shipper. Shipper will book a cargo space with the shipping agent, right? And shipping agent will inform electronically, that is, to MPA, that the vessel is going to sail. Normally will be is 24 hours same, or at least 6 hours before they leave Singapore. After that, the shipper will go and declare an export permit in order to export out the goods. They will go and give it to the shipping agent, and in exchange for a bill of lading. With all the documents collected from the shippers already, the shipping agent will reconcile it against their cargo manifest and submit an MRS to Singapore Customs. So that is the flow. Now we go on to the next one, that is the air consignments. Now for air consignments, it's slightly different from sea consignments. All this is done electronically, right? Firstly is cargo agents will declare all the declarations in TradeNet. From there, they are linked to a system called ACES, that is Air Cargo, EDI system. They will upload to ACES, and from ACES itself, what they do is they'll retrieve all the information of all the airway bills that belonging to the consignments for import or export or for transshipment. From there, they will submit an electronic document called a cargo manifest declaration, CMD in short, to the airline agent. An airline agent will do the submission of the MRS to Singapore Customs. All this is via a company, that is looking after this particular EDI system, that is CCN, Cargo Community Network, who is the administrator of ACES. They also have a period of submission, same just like the sea shipment. Now, all users, that will be the cargo agents who are making use of the CCN hub, they will be registered with CCN. We also do verification on the documents, whether it's import or export or transshipment, all air consignments. We go down regularly to the cargo agents and do checks on them to ensure that the permits are declared for all consignments that is handled by them. Okay. Period of submission is the same, just like the sea freight. All right. For CMDs to be submitted electronically to the airline agent, for arrival, it will be within 10 days. For departure, it will be within 7 days. As for the airline agents, they'll be submitting to Singapore Customs, right? The MRS is within 14 days for departure and 17 days for arrival. Right? This is the website in which the cargo agent will log on to, that is the CCN hub. For more details, you can log on to these two websites, all right, where you can find information on submission of MRS or whatever it is, and on cargo manifest declarations. And at the same time, also on the MRS scheme, the terms and conditions are there. Okay. This is our help desk, in which if you are not, I would say, if you have questions, let's say now, even after looking at the FAQ, you still want more information, you can contact us at this particular contact number and the email address. All right, with that, I end.